feelings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust.
Just a quick side, unfortunately, our pick band software is not working, so we're gonna go to the in-game pick band.
Gonna kick it old school this time. But coming out of the bans, that Hoyu ban, I think really evident. Demibro did go 7-0 during their upset over Doug. So really good ban taken off the table here. Don't want to back on that one. And AMC as well, putting a lot of pressure onto Demi, who, as we all know, the star ADC player, really likes Hunters.
Definitely, Demi being a super good and knowledgeable hunter that I've seen before. So no shot that the first first three bands coming out from the boy bands are all hunters. So, but on the other side of the equation squad, Achilles, Atlas, Kabrakan, and Yuhuang.
Yeah, the Yu Huang ban surprises me a little bit. The others, though, I mean, we saw what Achilles could do just in the last game. Absolutely ran that one semifinal against the Smite Joust fellows. But, gonna be taken out of this one in Zeus, the last ban. That's a pretty common one we've been seeing. Bit surprised it fell to last, and it's gonna be the Chulainn lock-in, but not from Ibba, who we saw pilot it in their first match.
Yeah, definitely. And for what we've seen, Kukuln, super strong Joust pick right now, able to just output so much damage while being a super strong front line. So no surprise to see him being locked in first from the equations. But and then we've seen Baron locked in before. And it's looking like we'll be seeing it again. Lots of sustain and a pretty good amount of damage coming out from the Baron. And right behind that Baron is going to be followed by a Yemoja.
And that's what you love to see. Lucent Colors on the signature pick, on the Yemoja. Really synonymous with that pick, and for good reason. I think 13 stars and does incredibly well with it. And the Baron surprises me a little. Pretty stark difference from what we saw this team the first time when they went with Chulainn, obviously off the table now. But should be pretty good. I think we've only seen him in one of the games so far today and didn't do too badly. A little underwhelming, but not a bad pick. Now, coming out for these next picks for the order side team, is there anything you're expecting out of the last two ones?
Um, I think they'll. I'm not sure what they're gonna kind of run. I think they'll still want to take a hunter for Demi. I think if Demi wants to play a hunter, he's gonna go with something that's super strong, that can obviously like spread a ton of damage and do a lot. Whether he goes towards an ability based hunter or your standard auto attack base, I almost wouldn't
Uh,
hate the idea of a Chiron. Um,
yeah. If I'm Demi, I'm definitely looking at something with either some CC immunity or a leap. Lucen's very good with that Yemoja ultimate, and it's gonna be hard to get out. Phantom Shell obviously can be picked up, but as a sport, not always what you're thinking about when you see some big walls of water go up. So if he does go with the hunter here, I'd say a safe one. I wouldn't even be mad with something like a Charybdis. Pick that has a lot of CC immunity, can stay really safe, and does a ton of damage late game.
yeah, it's definitely another pick that I wouldn't be too surprised to see. But actually, looking at that on her for Demi, and on her does get locked in, as well as the Ganesh. So Ganesh providing a lot of team peel, and also a lot of damage with that Dharmic Pillar's ultimate.
Yep, and just like we were speculating, on her has CC immunity, has a leap. I really do like this pick here. The pillar also going to be pretty useful. A lot of pretty narrow hallways in the jungle, so if he uses it wisely, it should be able to close it off extremely well. Now just waiting on the last pick here from the boy band backup singers, and I'd expect this would be something for Ibba. Really, really good jungler, so I wouldn't be mad to see him on something like a warrior or an assassin. Regardless, they're going to need some physical damage.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. I would think I'd lean more towards the warrior route. Something that can like withstand a lot, but also something that's also able to output a ton of damage. We saw them with the idea of the Guan before, so maybe they get Guan, but instead they're gonna take up the
Ooh.
Lancelot.
And that's exciting. That's a pick I have never been seen or never seen been played in Joust. and a really good amount of damage too, which you're going to need. Ganesha and Chulainn should both be extremely tanky. So Ibba and Powa really going to have to go big here and find an efficient way to get damage. They like the Hunter, like the Anhur, so they're going to have to play as a team if they want to shut this one down. But looking at these two team comps before we get into game, is there anything you're thinking in terms of who's going to have the early advantage?
It's going to be really difficult. I'm definitely going to give it to the Equation squad for in terms of who I think is going to take it. I like their comp a lot better. But I definitely think that the boy band squad is if they can get the Lancelot online and the Lancelot can actually like get in there and be able to burst someone down, then I think it's gonna work out for them well. But it's for me it comes down to execution, and that's the biggest question mark for me right now.
Yeah, definitely have to wait and see. But real quick, we are going to throw it into a quick transition while we load it into the lobby, so stay tuned. We will be back in just a minute.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are all locked in game now. My name is Hexagon once again, and I'm also joined by my co-caster Kingfisher.
Yes, sir. Excited to be in game and excited to see what happens. Lucent picking up that Baron's Brew. I know that's always really controversial. Are you one of the people that likes Baron's Brew, or are you not a brew believer?
I am honestly a massive brew believer. If I have a Baron on my
love to hear
team,
it.
all the reason to get Baron's Brew.
Exactly. Too good to pass up. I think it definitely got to sell it at some point, but honestly, especially in Joust where you progress levels a lot slower, I don't hate it. You're going to need a lot of sustain out there in lane. Because, I mean, oh my gosh, minion wave being split 3 ways doesn't give you a whole lot.
It's also
I'll be
like
interested to see which team
50
aggresses onto the red.
it's also like 50% off of a chalice too, so what's not to like? And it does the same stuff, so I don't know.
Oh, this is the first time we see the red buff actually get taken down with the mini monsters.
Yeah, the red buff goes down altogether, and early shell being popped out, early aggression from the boy bands. Gonna push back Templar just a little bit, but
And the red buff
Heal.
is going to go onto Ibba.
yeah, heal also coming forward, so gonna heal up the boy bands as they go and look towards their own blue buff. Get that all confirmed up and get some mana life and cooldowns on that Baron. So
And they do get the blue buff first, so might be able to find a little bit of pressure here in lane, especially with Anhur missing. Ibba does get one of the minions. Ooh, and knocks away Chulainn. Could have been trouble there immediately for the boy band backup singers.
I like they call them, but there is a little bit of a level lead right now, so I have to be a little bit careful with the fight.
Yeah, not necessarily worried about a level 4 to 3, but they should progress to level 5 before Quadratic does. And with the ultimates like the Baron and Yemoja, that's going to be a very dangerous fight. And they get their blue buff stolen.
That is so unfortunate.
Yeah, not what you want to see if you're a Quadratics fan.
I'm also watching what stole the blue.
I believe it was the Yemoja bubble. Could have been wrong.
So sad.
Oh, it's satisfying.
Unfortunate.
Gotta love to see when you see a support steal a buff.
Yeah, if
How
that happens
Quadratic
to you, you're
forced out of the
crying.
way.
You're just crying on the inside.
I mean, this is already a much slower paced game than what we've been seeing. We've been seeing teams immediately progress on level 5, and that could be it. Oh no, just a little bit of brawling.
A bit of damage dropped out by Powa, but doesn't want to commit to it too much with the vacuum quite yet, so is gonna hold it.
Yeah, now Quadratic already kind of forced under their towers. Need to do something to gain a little bit back. Do you think when they take over to level 5, they're going to be the ones to try and engage?
Go, go, go. Here we go. Life supply coming in. Ruger's being followed suit. Powa is playing with first blood by Templar. Looking for one more. Lucent Colors is going to clean up PurpleNurple. And he's going to go down. Heal is good. Going to force the jump away from Demibro. And Demibro is always in the back of the tower. Going to have to play this a little safe. Unless Powa wants to get a little bit spicy with a couple of abilities thrown forward. But isn't going to catch Demi, but already 2 for 0 right there on the boy bands. What a great first engage for them.
Yep, and that is exactly what you need to be careful of. Lucent able to riptide them back into his walls, shut down immediately. Ibba rides forward on the horse, doing a ton of damage. I don't know if you saw, Demibro almost body blocked Ibba into dying by the tower. He was one shot off. It was really funny. But good play by the Anhur, staying alive, almost causing another death, so he's making sure he doesn't get too behind in the farm. Had 0 deaths in his first game. And if you're a Quadratic Equation fan, definitely want to see that repeat. And more brawling over the red buff.
Definitely. Early aggression coming on to Demibro by IbbaWasTaken. There he goes. Dark Pillars drop. Desert Fury is coming out from Demi. Isn't going to find a whole lot of damage quite yet. But on the run, IbbaWasTaken is going to go buy the blue buff. The rest of the members of the Boyband going to be headed under T1 tower, while the red buff being looked at by Quadratic, looking to get it onto this Anhur to try and deal some extra damage.
Yeah, not a bad exchange by Quadratic. Unfortunately, Dark Pillars was not able to lock Lancelot down. Might have been able to kill Ibba there if it had. But now the bad thing, looking at the ult economy, Boyband is going to be able to do exactly what they did on that tier 1 tower. No ults for the side of Quadratic. They have 2, just waiting on Yemojas to get back up. It could be a really bad fight. Chulainn gets stunned out, maybe caught out.
Definitely, here comes the life of the party. Sucking back in, IbbaWasTaken in danger. Is going to be aggressed on. Is still on the back line, but big jump in coming from, but ult coming out from IbbaWasTaken. Will claim up BurpleNurple, and on the backside, Demibro is going to claim IbbaWasTaken just under Phoenix. So that's a 1-for-1 trade coming out, and he can even get a kill on the Hunter. Not too bad, but blue buff also being looked at, and does get claimed by Templar. So a little bit of the last laugh to seal that. But.
And again, Ibba blocked into the corner of a tower. Great job by Demibro with the pillar. I don't know if that's what did it or it was Ganesha standing there. Either way though, the kill credit goes onto your Anhur. That's exactly who you wanted on. Second thought might have been because of Ganesha passive. Who knows, but regardless, Quadratic with a little bit of a nice answer back. But Boyband still does have that Yemoja ult. I want to use it soon here.
No, once again, Dark Pillars getting dropped again. Really trying to keep it in place. River's Rebuke also going in. Ultimate also dropped off by BurpleNurple, but Lucent Colors claims up Templar, and still on the chase is BurpleNurple as the Boyband is completely surrounding him. But here comes the transformation. Ground pound to the ground. Ultimate going good. Desert Fury up for Demi. Is going to claim up Ibba. And big jump in. Here comes. They're not done here. Pillar is dropped. Looking like the party is coming up. Looking for one last heal. Can't find it. BurpleNurple claims him. And that's 2 for 9 on the side of Quadratic.
Yeah, and really good fight by Quadratic. Technically, I think 2 for 1 Ganesh died earlier, but maybe could be seen as a different fight. And that was really good for Quadratic, but that aside, if I'm Templar, I want to upgrade that shell to Phantom immediately. I mean, they had that Lancelot dead to rights and Dark Pillar, 1 River's Rebuke, and they folded in that early team fight. The quicker you can get that Phantom online, the quicker you can start to limit Lucent's potential here, and what he can do with that ultimate early on.
Definitely, and that's what it's all about. These River's Rebukes are being used to kind of... They're waiting for all the jumps and the dashes to come out, and then the Rebuke comes in and traps them, and then they're all out of ideas to what they can do. And because this is such an important stage between now and level 12, when they get that next relic, it's super dangerous because Lucent's really going to be able to just confirm the damage and keep them contained in the space. And that's where all your burst damage is going to come out when you limit the area of play.
Yeah, and I think by that same logic, if I'm that Anhur, might want to skip out on an Aegis and go ahead and pick up that shell. Already something we see some ADCs do sometimes, or mids go shell instead of Aegis. Definitely not a bad idea here. But surprisingly, a lot more even in map state than I thought it would be. Anhur in trouble. Ooh, gets away though.
But re-engage coming in. Dark Pillars dropped once again. A lot of damage being dealt out to Ibba. Ibba's gonna go right down to BurpleNurple. Not done there. Demibro claims one of his own. Lucent's gonna go down. And 2 gonna be looking towards that red buff, but Demi's got his eyes on the blue.
Yeah, and it's exactly the fight you want to see out of the Quadratic Equation. Knew the River's Rebuke was on cooldown. Anhur once more, not gonna find anything on a Baron. And great engage by BurpleNurple, taking down IbbaWasTaken, and then following up with Lucent Colors. That's exactly what you want to see. Now the gold lead drawn back in their favor, previously down about 600.
Yeah, now finds himself a small lead of their own. Looks like a little bit above 300 at that. Looking towards blue buff, as that's where Demi's looking. Gonna clear that, no problem. As going into those mini harpies by BDK, a little bit of damage exchange, but nothing too crazy. Nothing to be worried about for your squad. But looks like there's gonna be a little bit of a reset here. Back and buy some items, so.
Yeah, and just like last game, we see the Mana Core spikes come out again, this time not from the Warrior on Chulainn, but Ganesh. Not one that I've seen, arguably though, probably a little bit more hard knockup than that Chulainn has, or hard CC, I guess, than Chulainn has. More easily confirmable without being in that rage stance. Yeah, on the other side, Baron's build. That's interesting. I don't know if I've seen that. Sands of Time into Bancrofts, into Breastplate of Valor. He's going to have a lot of CDR, and building pretty hybrid so far, but Chulainn wants more.
I think that's pretty much a self-assessment, thinking that if he's getting hard-bodied by the Chulainn mainly, being able to BurpleNurple, like when he's transforming, he's dealing tons of damage, so maybe that's what Powa's thinking. Big pillar stick coming out there, pillar dropping right to it. BurpleNurple claims up IbbaWasTaken. Now they're engaged, but Demibro getting it last second. Life of the party is gonna pull back in, but seems to be on the reverse, looking for maybe more of a dive, but opts to take it back at that. Only one gonna go down with Ibba, but big ult on top of that is gonna secure at least one.
Yeah, really good fight there from Quadratic. And a little bit surprised, we've been seeing a lot of Emperor's armor come out today in the builds. Kinda surprised Lucent didn't opt towards that route since they're behind, they're stuck on their tower a little. To be fair though, I think he finished up that sovereignty when they were still really ahead in these team fights and gaining a lot of ground. Do you think that's something they go towards, or is it in a place in their build where they really don't want to sacrifice anything to get that passive from Emperors?
I don't hate the idea, but maybe they don't feel like they're playing. They kind of need it because of how kind of teeter-tottery the game is. Like they both have had winning fights, so maybe not too sure yet if they want to go towards the Emperors if they're feeling like they're being pushed. So worst case, they can save it for later, but I don't think they need it right now.
They probably don't, even though they are under that tier 1 tower constantly. It hasn't lost any health yet, so that's a little bit of a bonus. Need to be careful though with this Anhur already Transcendence Executioner online. He's going to be hitting those towers for a lot of damage. Lancelot needs to be careful on the left though. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Riptide's not going to hit Ganesh, unfortunately.
One there, red buff being looked at once again by Quadratic, getting all these buffs, making sure they're always getting them on the cooldown. But here we go, by breaking up Quadratic drops Desert Fury followed by the Garbage Killers, and here comes a River's Rebuke. But only grabbed one, Phantom Shell was used, so he was able to quickly escape there. A little bit of damage going in, going to be a wall stun off of Lucent, but doesn't find any extra damage right there. Still pretty healthy all across the board. Power's taking a few shots, but no minions to really push any further, so
yeah,
one in, one out.
Tankier than the Order side still. I was a little bit surprised by that Desert Fury. He used it for damage, but I guess he does have beads and Aegis up, so probably just relying on those to keep him alive. I know a lot of Anhur players like to kind of save it for some self-peel, get out in tough situations. I don't think Demi needs to. 3-0, both relics still up. He's doing outstanding here on Anhur, so I'm not going to question it.
Yeah, the way this game is really going is Demi is able to hold his ult for, you know, types of damage, especially in a game like this, because he's not really being too challenged that much. He's not really getting hard dove at the moment. He's able to just stand far back, cast some autos, do some damage, and he doesn't need to get up close and personal.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ibba, not finding the impact I'm sure he was hoping for on that Lancelot yet. But there's a lot of Smite left to be played, and I think Lancelot is one of the few gods that's insanely strong early game, insanely strong late game. Really doesn't drop off a whole ton, so I think the longer this goes and the more time Boyband have to kind of adapt their team fighting and get that Lance more involved, the better state they're going to be in. If I'm Quadratic, really want to keep the pressure on they'll give him a lot of time to breathe.
Yeah, for sure. And it's pretty much all they're really asking for. I think they're waiting to, like right now, I think they're the comp of the Boyband mainly is gonna shine once they get a little bit more damage online. I think that's what they're kind of waiting for with POWAAAAHHH, and maybe even Ibba might go a little bit damage oriented within the next few slots of his build. But I think they're super sustainable right now. That's why they're not dying, but they're just lacking the damage to turn the tides to their favor.
Yeah, and speaking of builds there, we saw that on Ibba's point of view being marked by that Ferocious Executioner. Something he really needs to be careful of, because if Demi is able to get that stacked up, that's going to make it a lot harder. Going to be hitting for 20% increased damage against that Lancelot. Every little bit of advantage Lance has and just, I think, base damage on his abilities, going to be pretty evened out if this Anhur is able to really get that item to where it should be.
And I know we were talking about Boyband, thinking about the
Oh, the Emperor's armor.
Yeah, the Emperor's armor. But I see that on the other side, BurpleNurple is the one who picked up one for himself for Quadratic.
Yeah, and to be fair, it does debuff enemy towers too, so I really like that. I think Quadratic is going to go for this tier 1 pretty soon, maybe now. Dharmic Pillar's out.
Yeah, that's it. They decided. Minions going in. But aren't looking for that. I think they want to try and bait this BDK maybe. Looks like that's what they're all posturing for. Templar playing distraction right now, gonna bug them a little bit, but they are quickly on the way with those Riptides. But quick wall stun right there, and here comes the ultimate coming out from BurpleNurple. Where was the drop? Stage coming in right on Demi though, all around Demi. Bees get popped. Life of the party also used. Sucks one in momentarily, but not gonna be enough. Here comes the Desert Fear coming out. Demi jumping in, gonna try and look to seal the deal. One more auto on to do it, but coming to save the day. Ibba is on, gonna stop him. But Demi is low, gets one last wall hit. One more out to do it. BurpleNurple will secure the kill.
Ooh, really close there from Ibba, almost locked down that Anhur. And Demi played that first engage great, got stunned out by Yemoja, he got dove by somebody else, and just the timing on his Aegis, immune to a lot of damage coming out from the Lancelot. He played it perfectly and still was able to get away alive, albeit with some help from his teammates. I think if they were a bit further behind, Ibba would have gotten that kill. But now the Anhur up 3 levels on that Lancelot. That's not what you want to see if you're a boy band fan.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. With him just so much further ahead and having all these shred items, he's really just gonna drop like a fly. Especially right now, Demi working into Odysseus's bow. So when he gets online, he's gonna be swinging hard and swinging fast.
Yeah, and I'm really interested by this Baron's build, now gone into Spirit of Magus. This is a lot more lifesteal than we normally see on Baron, but I don't totally hate it. He's been staying alive in these fights really, really well. I think yet to get as much value as he would have liked from the life of the party, but setting himself up great here for this late game. I think that Baron's going to get harder and harder to kill as time goes on, especially with how hybrid Ibba's building with that defense. Oh, and now with the engage from Boyband.
Boyband, that's going to force Demi out, but Dharmic Pillar drop. But it's followed by, but also help. If it doesn't hear coming up, POWAAAAHHH is going to get the first kill on Demi. Demi drops like a fly, and here it comes surrounding completely BurpleNurple. But it was the one that's in trouble, taking a little too much damage from BurpleNurple off the side around. Is POWAAAAHHH. POWAAAAHHH can find a nice little heal and it's gonna get started by a little one-off of BurpleNurple on the tower, but this BDK buff is completely stopping him.
Yeah, and I think that was both a really good and kind of concerning fight from Boyband. I mean, Lucent separated that fight extremely well with the River's Rebuke, and Ibba did exactly what he needed to, diving in on the Anhur. But look at the tanks. They're pretty much full health. They got everybody on that team down well under half a third HP. Neither of them have a damaging item. I don't think this Boyband team is quite as tanky as they think they are. Good test here though, Chulainn diving in.
Not that much. BurpleNurple quickly getting the transformation going, jumping in, getting a 3-man stun for a little bit there, but is going to find a little bit of return damage from Ibba, and that's really going to be all. want to quickly point out that right people, I'm surprised that this tower is still up. It's dropping now, but the tower defense they had earlier was crazy that they were able to keep it standing.
Yeah, and I really do like what I've seen out of POWAAAAHHH. I think I already said, but all that lifesteal keeping him alive extremely well. Now with Obshard, he should be hitting this Chulainn really, really hard. I think definitely has enough sustain, both with his items and his kit, to keep alive. So I think BurpleNurple, who up until this point has really been running this game, needs to maybe start being a little careful and respect that damage a bit more. I was going to start swinging, and another set of Manticore spikes picked up from the Chulainn.
Yeah, so another set of spikes is going to be, they're really just trying to spread them around, you know? Just really getting all the...
more the merrier.
Yeah, that's it. The more the merrier. So, you know, sometimes you just got to spike it up. And that's what Quadratic's opting for, so...
You just notice Yemoja is the highest level on that Boyband team. You love to see it. Love to see the tanks getting high. Yemoja already really hard to kill. Only one death on the game. And went Fortifying Shell instead of Phantom. I guess don't really need Phantom on her's pillar. About the only thing that would be stopping your path. And speaking of Anhur now, going to be started up the Bull Demon King. Now, do you think Boyband can contest this one, or should they?
I definitely think they do, but if they're gonna block him out like this, it's not worth it to take the extra damage. So they're doing good at kind of going back and then going in as one. Luckily, like with the Riptides, they have an easy way in. Garment Killers gets dropped and the engage comes out. There goes Desert Fury drop, Life of the Party falls in, jump coming in from Demi, but Demi now thing but by himself, but here comes Rivers, bro, and they're completely locked in. Big heal coming out, and Lancelot all coming through from Ibba. Power claims of Demi.
Yeah.
One and done so far, but the big one that they were looking to kill is finally out, so they have a little bit more free reign.
Yeah, and that was a really good fight by Boyband. And POWAAAAHHH dropped extremely low, but still able to get himself out and get kill credit off onto that Anhur. I think Ibba as well able to escape through that River's Rebuke. The whole team is synergizing really well in these fights. They were early game when we saw him pushing, lost a step in the mid game, but now looking at this tier 1 tower. ABC, but still should be able to take it. No, they might be back now.
They do have minions coming in, so the country's engaged off the minions. A little bit of damage coming out, but here comes BurpleNurple transform, big and strong, but big heal coming up from POWAAAAHHH, and to heal up the entire team, looking to re-engage. Life of the Party is going to pull up. BurpleNurple brings him in. One more heal coming up. Garment Killers dropped on top of that. So they're really wanting to commit to this fight, but Ibba comes back in, getting a little bit of damage coming out. No heal, good for that time, but they need to be careful. Demi's on the prowl and back in the fight, but big pillar stun, and she is stuck in that pillar. Welcome to the Fury, baby. Demibro's gonna pick up Lucent.
Yeah, great answer back by Demi, but I was too caught up in the sustain. Boyband gained health in that fight, despite being attacked the whole time. Baron and Yemoja combining really well to keep them alive. Not alive long enough, though, as Anhur manages to take one down, and that's the kind of engage they need. That Phoenix is frozen, and with a Hunter on your team, Lancelot and Baron have to go massive here in order to stop the bird from falling, and I don't know if they can.
Definitely it's going to be a hard task to do, but already a good amount of damage popped on Demi from POWAAAAHHH just before they went in, but with Demi just free casting on this thing is going to melt like butter.
Yeah, melt it does. Phoenix finally falling, and they're pulling back. I'm not gonna lie, I think they totally could have won there. That's a little bit surprising, but no harm, no foul. They are gonna have 3 minutes to make their next push. They all do have ultimates up, all their relics are up, they have all the tools they need. Now this is where Boyband have to pull together and make a really good, strong defense here. But luckily for them, Quadratic waited, so they're gonna have all 3 alive.
Yeah, so they'll have to do one last fight to really try and seal this deal if they can do it, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of them falling back if they had like a ton of gold to really try and finish off those builds to get those last spikes online to try and
finally got Emperor's armor.
Yeah, so Emperor's armor is was picked up by Lucent only ever so recently, so gets that going. And
I also want to point out that Midgardian mail that Ibba just picked up in his armor. or his build rather, going to be pretty effective against that Anhur. The more Anhur hit him, the less he's going to hit him pretty much. But given Anhur's build has a lot of attack speed, and with that Ferocious Executioner, I don't know if I would prioritize that over maybe some more damage to try and get him out of there quicker. Now they're going to be waiting for Chulainn to get up here, but I'm guessing they're going to engage very, very soon.
Yeah, I think that's what they're looking to do with Phoenix still down, so that they're kind of on a time limit a little bit. Decides to walk into the fight room. It's a nice little pull up. Going to be a pillar stun off of Lucent, but not much else. River Rebuke though, they're all dropped. Life of the party coming in. Here comes Savage Killers also dropped. The last one doesn't fear going in, and here comes the ult from Ibba. But the one thing is that they're both near the fountain. They're able to heal up quickly, but it doesn't matter. Titan just drops.
I can't die.
Yeah, and great end by Quadratic Equation Fanclub, doing very well to close that one out. Maybe in a little bit of question early, pulled back a bit in the mid game, and finally able to close it against Boyband. The team Joy Wolf had picked to win it all, and honestly, I was leaning towards 2. This is a team to contend with in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. They played real strong. We're able to just pretty much get Demi to the fact where he had 2 to 3 items in. Had still had some pressure before that, but once he was really getting that executioner in there, he was really starting to swing, and then the Kins only made it harder.
Yeah, and a little bit wild to see that Baron had the highest player healing and highest damage in the game. POWAAAAHHH doing a really good job on that Baron. Obviously, can't take anything away from Quadratic, but a little bit unfortunate there for Boyband. I thought they played that pretty well, all things considered. A little questionable build choices, but in the end, not able to defend against the lightning hot siege of the Quadratics.
Yeah, definitely just had a super strong sieging comp, and they didn't really have a whole lot of answers. The Rivers Rebuke was all of them were pretty much on point from Lucent. Unfortunately, I think it was the follow up after the rebuke that they just weren't getting enough damage in to finish off those targets.
Yeah, and I gotta say, heading into the finals, do you think that Quadratic Formula are gonna take it, or would you more be leaning to the team we saw in the first semifinals? Is there any particular way you're feeling, or
I
do you think
definitely
this is anyone's game?
I definitely want to say I might give Quadratics the edge because they seem to be a little bit more composed than the teams we watched in the last semifinal. So
Yeah, Pile Laundry definitely had a strong showing, but given what Quadratic just did, I don't know. I think they're looking in a really good spot here.
yeah,
But
I have to agree with you, but yeah, no, I think I got to give it to the Quadratic guys.
yep, only one way to tell though. That is gonna conclude our second semifinal. But before we do get you folks into the finals, the third place team between the boy band backup singers and the Smite Joust players is going to be taking place in just a few minutes here. So make sure you stick with us. Zex and Joy will be back right after this short break.